Hello, shitcoiners. Welcome back. As always, I'm joined by the shitcoin.com head honcho, Andreas Brecken. And today we have two very special guests. Joining us from Bitrefill, we have Sergej and John. Welcome, guys.
I'm the founder and CEO of Bitrefill. I've been doing this for over 4 years now, and in different ways. We're working towards the big vision of people being able to live inside of this Bitcoin economy, and a big part of that is to be able to buy stuff, and to be able to buy stuff within this economy without always having to go through regulated exchanges all the time. And so by giving people the option to buy stuff with their coins, it means that they can be more confident in holding the coins, because they know that at the very least I can exchange them for this kind of stuff that we have on Bitrefill, like gift cards and refills of prepaid phone bills and stuff like that. And then during the past year and a half, I guess, we've delved deeper and deeper into Lightning, mainly because we kind of saw what the situation was before, and that Lightning looks a lot like the technology that would need to be in place for this thing to be able to be used by loads and loads of people. And so we started with small stuff, doing little proof of concepts and so on, and now it's gradually becoming a bigger and bigger part of our company when it comes to the longer term strategy.
My name is John Carvalho. I'm the CCO at Bitrefill. I've been doing a lot of the marketing and PR related things. And, as Sergej probably just said, we're basically working to help create a circular economy for people that are spending crypto and living on crypto. And so we, obviously have the ability for people to convert that into products and services. And now we're trying to get more into facilitating the commercial side of being in crypto through the Lightning Network and providing like Lightning service provider kind of services and products related to Lightning, and making Lightning easier to use for people.
Awesome.
And yeah, I mean, it's this closed loop, we've been talking about since since everybody heard about it, probably their first week in Bitcoin. So
yeah, I feel like it's like almost like a renaissance to get Lightning now, because people wanted to talk about peer-to-peer cash and instant cheap payments, and it's like now Lightning is actually kind of delivering that in a more direct way than base layer Bitcoin ever did. It was only temporary that we were able to do things that way in the early days, but now we can kind of have it again, and I really like the kind of new paradigm that Lightning is providing, more experimental capability, etc.
Awesome.
The Lightning stuff was in part necessity, in part excitement, I think, from my perspective. We had a company here in Sweden that I was in conversations with a long time ago called StrawPay. They kind of identified in 2013 that one day there will be the block space will be scarce, and then prices will be high, and there will need to be payment channel technologies and so on. So I kind of like always had that in the back of my head. But
sorry to break in, but I think a lot of people don't know that payment channels were actually, were invented and even implemented in Bitcoin script in 2013.
I think they were even described by Satoshi in the white paper, if I remember correctly, in some way or form.
Yeah, or at least the one I was referring to was, the one I was talking about was, I believe it's called the Tier Nolan protocol. Right. And it's on the original Bitcoin wiki. We'll put a link to it. It's pretty. Yeah. It's a pretty cool.
This is sort of where you're starting to go at the top of my head. But yeah, and I mean, so payment channels has always been possible. There's some of the, if we're going to go into the tech stuff, is the HTLCs that depend on the newer opcodes and on SegWit, which fixes transaction malleability, which makes bi-directional payment channels possible on Lightning, whereas the good old payment channels would only work one way, and you wouldn't have this where it could hop multiple hops like it can over Lightning in a trustless way. So in that model, you had hubs, and the hubs were very clearly payment service businesses, and that in itself is also like a little bit interesting. And there was a proposal called Moonbeam a couple of years ago that was also like sort of mini Lightning just for exchanges, which is also
cool.
not the worst idea. But now that we have Lightning, it does all that and more. Why not just do it with that?
Yeah.
But I guess the original question was how we got into that. And on phone refills, we sell the same product in Bangladesh as in the US. The difference is on the order size, and we'd have orders down to 20 cents that were going on chain, and gradually fees went up high, and we had the customers that were paying like 100% of the order size in transaction fees. So in some ways it's good feedback that they want to use the service even if it's super expensive for them, but obviously that was never the goal. So and we did all kinds of stuff at the time. We added our user accounts, we built off-chain integrations with leading wallets and exchanges, we added the first 3 or 4 altcoins, and gradually moved towards Lightning as well.
As an outsider perspective, like I've only been at Bitrefill for about 5 months, and the way Bitrefill kind of came into my life was when BitPay lost Steam as a customer, and that was big news. And at the time, I was like, man, I actually used that. Like I liked being able to use Bitcoin at Steam, and I immediately searched for an alternative, and Bitrefill quickly, popped into the scene and started selling gift cards for Steam. And I was like, okay, perfect. And I think that was kind of the early start from the outsider perspective. That was when Bitrefill started doing more gift cards and started growing to the gift card realm, and then got more and more attention. And now it just keeps escalating into this year. It's still a small percentage of our total sales, 5% or so. It's getting to be one of the higher percentages in relation to the altcoins that we accept. But even those sometimes spike as well to higher percentages. So it's growing quickly, but it's still a small portion. So I think everything looks like what we would expect for Lightning. It hasn't been around a long time. There's still a lot of development. There's still a lot of features being fleshed out, but the pace of usage seems to be growing along with the pace of the network size of Lightning itself.
You mentioned receiving your first Bitcoin in a Lightning wallet. And as far as I understand, that is not possible today, but I heard somebody, I believe it was Felix Weiss, say that someone is working on the way so you can receive your first coins on Lightning without money.
Yeah, we provide that.
Okay, well, that was a good sales pitch.
Yeah, very.
There's a layup for you.
Andreas, you're a page fill. It's clear now. Mafia. The baseball hat is on the way in the mail.
Yeah.
So like we've mentioned that we're providing Lightning services, and we haven't really been specific yet, but obviously we accept Lightning as a payment method, but we actually provide channel opening services. So we have the Thor product, which allows people to buy capacity, and then we upgraded that recently to the Thor Turbo channels, which Turbo channels is like a kind of hack we do with Lightning, where we can forward Bitcoin to anybody, and they can instantly spend it. So they don't have to wait for channel for confirmations to be able to start spending on Lightning. So if people come to us, now we're not an exchange, so you can't buy Bitcoin from us with fiat and have your first Bitcoin be on Lightning, but you could certainly gift somebody Lightning, Lightning Bitcoin as their first Bitcoin, and they could instantly spend it. So you can create an onboarding experience that really shows people what Lightning is if you really want to. You can say, hey man, scan this with your phone, and then all of a sudden they have Bitcoin and Lightning and they can tip with it or spend. I've tried a lot of them. In order to use turbo channels, you actually have to use Bitcoin Lightning Wallet Anton, and because it requires that hack to make it work. But the idea is hopefully we'll get this kind of tech into more wallets in the futures. But as far as wallets that I like, I really like the Breeze. They're experimenting with neutrino early, and they have a lot of cool perspectives on how Lightning will play out into the future. Obviously, Jack Mahler's is doing Zap, and he has a nice product there. The Lightning Labs wallet is looking nice. There are a lot of wallets that you can try for Lightning right now. Blue Wallet is a nice experience, but it's custodial. But a lot of people are still using it anyway. But it depends on what you're going for. I think as long as people know whether it's custodial or what they're getting themselves into, I don't have a problem with them choosing to use it. But I would like to see some consolidation in the Lightning wallet market, and that way we can have better products and less quantity of them. Oh, it's kind of like I just said. I think as long as people understand what they're getting into, they're welcome to come on in here. Lightning developers have been like hashtagging reckless and telling people to be careful, but that never ends. It's going to be reckless forever. There's always going to be some kind of risk to using new technology. Even Bitcoin itself is still a risk to use it. So yeah, we're being more experimental, but I think that's okay. I think that I want people to feel like they can come on in and use the products. And but as far as custodial, yeah, in that article, I'm more making the case that I don't like the idea of how Coinbase and some of the larger companies are seeming to make an effort to like hold as much of your value as possible. They're like gathering Bitcoins, and they're trying to get people to like, there are companies like BlockFi and things like this that are trying to get people to get percentages on holding Bitcoins for them. And to me, this is like, yeah, this is like antithetical to why we made Bitcoin. We made Bitcoin to remove trust, and now everybody is like trying to put their Bitcoin to work by trusting people. And I think eventually this blows up in your face, every once in a while, and some people get hurt.
We are using what's already there. We have Litecoin, we have Dogecoin, and Dash and Ethereum. So we are using those things and monitoring them closely. What we're seeing is that they're like in the narrative of the old debate that was that the limited block space is what's holding the industry back. If it was really the case that it was the transactional capacity that was the bottleneck of this industry, then we would have already seen that things like Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and so on would be 90% of the traffic. And the reason that why we're not seeing that is probably that there is a certain network effect and a certain draw with Bitcoin in particular. And so Lightning is attractive because, first of all, it is literally Bitcoin. The Lightning transactions are Bitcoin transactions. It just warps the Bitcoins in a special way to make them zap over the internet faster. But also that Lightning as a technology is Bitcoin-like in the sense that it's a piece of software that you can install and you run it yourself, and you don't have any real counterparty when you run it. There's no real Lightning foundation and this and that, and so like it is it's Bitcoin-like in spirit, which I think we also like, and just the fact that it could potentially scale by several orders of magnitude, definitely further than any of the so-called big block coins can do.
And also, I suspect if you added like EOS, which I've never even tried, or Ripple, or what are these things called, Tron? I mean, nobody uses that stuff. There's no way.
Yeah, I think another dimension to add to this is that while at the moment, you can compare a popular altcoin to Lightning and say, okay, they're both going to settle relatively quickly and they're both going to be relatively cheap to transact within compared to Bitcoin. They are different designs, and my belief is that any altcoin using any type of remotely standard blockchain design to transact in their network at scale the same things that happen to Bitcoin happen to that altcoin. You know, the blocks get full, the transactions get expensive. At scale, I think that everything looks the same. And so Lightning is different because it is literally a different design, and designed to work at scale, to remain instant and remain, you know, inexpensive at scale.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the plans are for Bitrefill going forward, and yeah, what users can expect, and like even if it's like kind of pie in the sky thing.
Well, we try to I guess combine the pie in the sky stuff with building things that are here and now and sort of from the ground with what we actually have on the ground today, right? And so from what we have on the ground today, you know, you can expect the same gift card coverage that we have in the US right now for us to have that globally, so that people can use that a little bit everywhere. And over time, you know, move towards tighter integrations with merchants, but while trying to avoid some of the mistakes that I think problematic in the BitPay type model. But working that way, we're also working and looking at through that, figuring out ways for people to be earning coins, right? And see how still haven't really decided what role we should be playing in such a world. But trying to figure out ways, because it's needed for the circular economy. You need something you can buy, and in some place you can earn the coins. And I'll say it here on television that getting a cash back from your e-commerce purchase is not earning. But that's yeah. But yeah, so we need to find ways for people to earn their coins. And when it comes to Bitrefill, we will keep providing a sort of more well-rounded and integrated ecosystem around Lightning. I think that we're going to see in a not so distant future, but maybe it's going to be more than a year from now at least, that the vast majority of traffic is going to be over Lightning. I think when the exchanges move over to Lightning, then all of the other stuff will go to Lightning as well. And in that world, you know, we will be. We'll see if we'll be a wallet or not, but we'll be the thing that that gets people to buy stuff with with their actual bitcoins, right? And that strategy is relatively unchanged from regular Bitcoin to Lightning. It's kind of like that's what we want to be. We want to be the enablers for this economy, and gradually as we grow, you know, the big picture is that we want to be like Amazon became for e-commerce. You know, like the one-stop place for where people who live in crypto go to get whatever they need.
You can find Bitrefill at bitrefill.com, at Bitrefill on Twitter. We also have a blog, and soon we're going to be opening up a Telegram channel as well for people to interact with us. And you can follow me at Bitcoin Error Log on Twitter.
And I'm at Zigamon .Twitter. I think if you misspell it, it will autocorrect
it. Nice, perfect. And as always, guys, remember to follow Andreas on Twitter as well, Brecken, ABRKN, I think, right? That's the one. And yeah, check out SideShift AI as well. Access codes are now live with version 0.2. The automated coin swap. Check that out as well.